Hello. How you guys doing? All right. My name is Kane Hodder. For those of you that don't really know, I am the person that has played Jason for the last two Friday the 13th. I've been a stuntman for 13 years, conveniently, and done a lot of other movies, but I have done, I think, about 14 different horror movies. I did House, House 2, Prison. I was the killer in that. You saw about 3 seconds worth of that.
Have you been in the area long?
Actually, it's the first time I've ever been here.
Mm-hmm.
I've been upstate New York before, but not in this city.
Mm-hmm. Have you been able to do anything?
No, I just got in late last night and been just mostly here today, so I'm hoping to be able to see a little bit tonight. Go out to maybe a club or two.
What was the first film you did stunt work on?
The very first one. Actually, the first thing I ever did stunts in was a TV show called Emergency. Mm-hmm. And then I did another TV show called Hunter. It was not the Fred Dryer one now. It was an earlier one that was short-lived with James Franciscus. And then the first couple movies I did were In God We Trust with Richard Pryor. Marty Feldman was in it.
Yeah.
But I did TV mostly TV for the first few years.
And you were in both of the House films.
Yeah, I actually...
were you doing just stunt work, or were you playing the creature the whole time?
No, in House and House 2, let's see, I coordinated the stunts in all of them, or both of them. And I say all because Horror Show was the equivalent of House 3. Mm-hmm. And we're talking about doing House 4 the end of the year. So I did coordinated the stunts and did a lot of the stunts in it. And I was in the witch costume a little bit in the first House, and then House 2 I was in I doubled the Gramps character for the stunts.
In the movie Prison, you had to do a scene with worms. What did that involve?
Oh, you've done your research, haven't you? Well, there seemed to be a scene where the character I'm playing has been dead for a long time, and he died in an electric chair. So the scene consisted of me bursting up through the ground, strapped to the electric chair, and then breaking the straps, standing up, and with my powers, killing a guy. So since I had been buried in the ground for a long time, they decided to put live night crawlers and worms all over me. And I thought that was a pretty good idea, but being the method person that I could be sometimes, I suggested to the director, Rennie Harlan, who just directed Die Hard 2, I suggested putting the worms in my mouth. And we rinsed them off, and they're big, fat night crawlers, too. And we put them in my mouth and put about 8 of them in, and almost all of them came back out. I don't know what happened to the other ones.
And how were you picked to play Jason in the Part 7?
Well, there was about 6 of us up for it, and the other 5 guys seemed to meet untimely deaths. And no, I got you there. No, when I did Prison, playing that character in the makeup, even though you only see it for a few seconds, the makeup effects guy was John Buechler, and he got the job of directing Friday 7, and immediately suggested to Paramount that I play the part of Jason, because they had never let one guy repeat in the role. So he thought I had a good shot at it, and went through the audition process and ended up getting the part.
It's very hard to show emotion behind the mask. How would you go about displaying a sense of menace as Jason?
Well, it is very difficult because you can't make any faces. But what I normally do is just with body positioning and just attitude of body language, and stand up. And plus, I do play a lot to the cameras, because if I stand up like this and look at you, but then go like this, oh God, help! Help! Sorry, it just snaps once in a while.
You were in 2 films with Laura Park Lincoln, who's now on Knots Landing in Part 7 and House 2. How was she to work with?
Laura is great to work with. I mean, I didn't do too much with her in House 2, but in Part 7, naturally she was the adversary. And she's great to work with. I think she's a very talented actress, and just all the physical stuff we had to do, I had a great time working with her. I was hoping she might come back before I saw the script in Part 9. I thought maybe that would be a good idea to bring that character back, but it didn't work out.
Now, what exactly was that giant tool you had in Part 7? What was that?
Actually, that wasn't like a prop thing. It was an actual tool that they used in Alabama. I had never seen it before. It was like a weed whacker, but it had a circular saw blade on it. And we were trying to figure out how to kill this guy, because he's pretty much of a jerk in the movie, so he needs to be killed in a unique way. And we were trying to figure out chainsaw. No, that's been done. And then I spotted this tool somebody was using in their yard, and I told Beekler that was a good idea, so we talked about it and we ended up using it. I think it went over real well.
You were talking about the ending of Part 7 before. Did they actually expect the audience to believe that this was the father after so long in the water, coming up and grabbing her?
You know what?
Was it supposed to be a dream?
No, I mean, it was supposed to be real, but the problem was Beekler had a very good makeup job for that character. It would look like, a lot of the skull was showing, and, part of the chin was rotted away, stuff like that. It was very good makeup, but when they saw it on film, they got the impression, Paramount and whoever powers that be, that it wasn't recognizable enough as the father. They were afraid that people would say, who's this coming up? Because it was so decayed that it didn't look like the father, so that's why they abandoned the makeup and went to something that at least you would know it was the father.
Okay, here's something I was wondering about at the end of Part 7 when the mask was cracked and, gone. I was wondering how he would get the mask back in Part 8. And the guy in the boat had the convenient mask there. But the funny thing was, since Part 3, he had that crack in the mask, which I thought was good throughout the whole series. He had that crack, but that mask on the boat had the same crack. Was there any explanation for that?
Yeah, that's the first thing I said when I said, it's going to be a new mask. So they showed it to me, and I said, it shouldn't have this slice in it. And it had already been made, and they said, well, see, this guy was using the mask to try and scare his girlfriend. And he was telling about the Jason legend and stuff. So their explanation was that he was so knowledgeable about the legend that he cut the thing in the mask to make it match what the real Jason mask was. Mm-hmm. So I kind of weaseled out of it that way.
Are there any plans for a Part 9, and will you be in it?
I haven't heard any plans as of yet for Part 9. I think they're going to give it a little rest, since it didn't do quite as well in Part 8. And if they do a Part 9, I will probably most definitely be involved.
And you were saying before that there's probably no chance of a Michael Myers, Jason, but I think that would be
I think it'd be a great idea. I mean, just get two of the horror legends in the same movie, no matter who they be. I mean, the big four.
Well, used to do it all in the 40s with Frankenstein, Dracula, and Werewolf.
I don't know how they did it then. I'm sure it was different.
Universal,
yeah. Same studio.
Yeah, that's the problem. I mean, if they could ever work that whole distribution thing out, I think it'd be a great idea. Be a good way to end all of these, horror series. At least you think it's ended.
Okay, thanks a lot.
I just have one question. I just want to know, what are you looking for more? Stunt roles, acting roles, or whatever comes along?
I'm actually looking for more acting roles, but I always like to have the action involved in the role, some kind of stunt action. I like doing the dialogue type things, but as long as it's still action oriented, I'd be happy.
And seeing that stunt work is so physical, what do you do to keep in shape? You weight train, or you have a lot of time to do that?
I do a lot of stuff in the gym, and one of the best exercises actually is